The big headline from Turkiye. There will be a second round in the presidential election. None of the candidates breached the 50% mark. Recep Tayyip Erdogan got 49.42%. His rival Kemal Kilicdaroglu got 44.95%. And a third candidate impressed as well. Sinan Oğan, who got around 5% of the vote. So Erdogan was the most popular candidate, but that's not enough. You need more than 50% of the vote to become the president of Turkey, which means there will be a runoff. Think of it as a second round. It will be held on the 28th of May. There will only be two candidates in the fray, Erdogan and Kilicdaroglu. On Monday, both men were confident of winning the runoff. Erdogan more than his rival. Listen to this.
If our nation says a second round, we gladly accept it. We will absolutely win this election in the second round. Everyone will see that.
I would like to emphasize it once again that the fact that the election results have not yet been finalized does not change the fact that our nation's choice is clearly in our favor. We strongly believe that we will continue to serve our nation for the next 5 years.
I'll tell you why Erdogan is confident. Because he wasn't expecting to do so well. Late opinion polls predicted Kilicdaroglu in the lead. But the actual results tell a different story. It is Erdogan who is within striking distance of victory, which brings us to the runoff. Who has the edge going into round two? Looks like Erdogan. He's leading his rival by 4.5%. Plus his party has captured the parliament. Two things that will work in Erdogan's favor. But there is one person who could spoil his party, and that's Sinan Oğan, the third candidate who got 5% of the vote. He hasn't endorsed either candidate yet, but chances are he won't support the opposition. You see, Oğan is an ultra-nationalist. His biggest enemies, Syrian refugees and Kurds. But Kilicdaroglu counts on Kurdish support, so ideologically there's a problem. Unless some last-minute deal is struck, an alliance looks very unlikely. Having said that, this is politics, so anything is possible. The Turkish people have 2 weeks to introspect, to think hard about what they really want. And the choice is stark. Erdogan and Kilicdaroglu are like chalk and cheese. They disagree on most policy issues. Erdogan believes in centralized power. He wants to continue with the presidential system. Kilicdaroglu wants to abolish it. He wants to empower the parliament and the prime minister. Erdogan has traditionally villainized Turkey's Kurdish community. His rival has promised to defend them. He also plans to normalize ties with NATO, approve Sweden's entry into the alliance, and reconcile differences with Europe. Meanwhile, Erdogan thinks the West is trying to topple him. They're certainly capable of it. But there is no evidence so far to suggest this. There's a reason why global media is obsessed with this election. I know we keep saying all elections are consequential, but this one fits the bill, really, because it will realign the global order. In fact, let me tell you what a post-Erdogan Turkey could look like. For starters, no more Islamist rhetoric. Kilicdaroglu is a committed secularist. He ended his campaign by visiting Kemal Atatürk's mausoleum in Ankara. Guess how Erdogan ended the campaign? By visiting the Hagia Sophia Mosque. Really sums up the differences. Kilicdaroglu is likely to increase interest rates. Central banks across the world have done it, but not in Turkey. Erdogan opposed interest hikes, calling them un-Islamic. The result is this, more than 40% inflation. Kilicdaroglu has also promised to triple welfare spending. He wants to set aside 12% of the budget for social programs. Looking at Turkey's economy, they need it. Let's also look at foreign policy. NATO would love Kilicdaroglu to win. He may not completely break away from Russia, but he won't be a shaky partner, not like Erdogan was. He has also promised to restart talks to join the European Union. Erdogan started those talks, but he lost interest in the last decade. So the West will be hoping for an Erdogan loss. Having said that, it's not all rosy. Kilicdaroglu is a Turkish nationalist first. So he plans to normalize relations with Syria. He wants to send Syrian refugees back as soon as possible. Among all these differences, one stands out, and that's temperament. Erdogan had big ambitions in the Islamic world. Kilicdaroglu does not. He wants to end Turkish intervention in Libya and Syria. To sum up, here's what a post-Erdogan Turkey could look like. Less volatile, more predictable, more approachable. But looking at Sunday's results, that seems far off.